What's going on, people? It's your boy, the Boxing Lowdown here, and this is episode number 69 of the Boxing Lowdown podcast. I'm delighted to be joined by, you already know who it is, the main man in the building, Laurie from AFTV, my father in the house. What is going on, man? Nice jumper.
Yeah, man. I wish I could say the same for you, though, man. You look like... Where did you get that from? You look like you've been subscribing to Sean Porter's podcast and got some ideas from him. That yellow jacket last week.
Just a little something from Zara, man. You know, it's just a little something from Zara.
No, man, I like it. It's just colourful. It's more. I'm at that age, man, where I don't experiment with too many colours these days. Back in the day, maybe, but now I've got to keep it straight, you know. But yeah, man. Yeah. Big up to everyone watching, man. Thanks everybody for tuning in last week. We had some good views, some very good comments, and yeah, people seem to like what's going on, man. So long may it continue. And I've got some more smoke this week.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking forward to that.
Listen, guys, you know week, man. Keep watching for the smoke.
Yeah, I knew from the news yesterday, but we'll just shout out everybody first of all, man. Big up Conrad Boxing here in the comments already. He's put here, let's go. He's ready for the smoke. All of you guys that are joining, you know the drill. Hit the like button as soon as you jump in. Leave a comment. Let us know that you're here. You know what I mean? Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. The subs are going up a little bit, so we're getting there. The views are going up as well. So listen, man, very positive over here. So big up to everybody. And we got a great show for you guys this week, man. Francisco is here in the building. He's put, despite some of the usual issues, we might get a decent 2022 in boxing. There are some good fights that might happen. Break it down, brothers. You know we will, man. Big up Francisco in the building. Yeah, let us just start off first of all. Shout out to everybody that joined. Let us just start first of all by, wishing a speedy recovery to Robert Easter Jr. Do you know what I mean? Very disturbing news over the week. How he was robbed. Was it a gunpoint? I think it was, wasn't it? Or
yeah, I believe so. Very sad.
Shot 3 times as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, man. I think these guys going after his jewelry and his watch and stuff. Like, you know, what I mean, it's terrible. It's not the first time it's happened with boxers, man. I mean, some of you out there may remember the late great Vernon Forrest, who was a personal favorite of mine. He was actually killed in a similar situation. So very sad. I hope first and foremost that he makes a full recovery. I hope that he can, the injuries are not so severe that it will affect his future boxing, because he's still an active fighter, although he hasn't fought for a while. So, yeah, man, let's hope that he can make a full recovery, to catch the people that done it, and that he can make a return to the ring sometime soon, because he is a quality fighter.
Yeah, former world champion at lightweight as well, man. Yeah. I guess first of all, we just need to hope that, he makes the speedy recovery. I know the injuries are not life-threatening, but what sort of impact will this have on his career going forward? Will he be the same? We don't know.
This is it. Yeah, it's very sad. But yeah, let's wish him all the best for the future.
Yeah. Let's get on to today's show, though, man. Some news breaking over the evening yesterday, and it's not official yet. We haven't got official confirmation, but as soon as this news came in, shout out to Michael Maxwell, by the way. As soon as this news came in, I thought of you straight away. And that is the situation with Canelo Alvarez, man. It's looking like there have been a lot of stories with Canelo over the last few weeks. We were told a few weeks ago that he could be fighting Charlo. There was the stories before that he was going to move up to fight Makabu. Now there are some fresh stories out there that he's close to signing a 2-fight deal with DAZN and Matchroom Boxing again. And he will be facing Bivol at 175 in the first fight, and then Triple G in the second fight. Ash in the building, my bro Ash, he's put here, get Laurie a Bivol t-shirt. He's put here, Laurie is hoping for a double KO. And DS is in the building. He's put, yes, my family, yes, brother. So Laurie, your thoughts on this, because I know you're going to want to go off, or maybe you might agree with it. I don't know, man. What's your thoughts on this potential deal involving Canelo Alvarez?
Well, what I would say about that is, have you ever, Daryl, been given like a birthday gift or a Christmas gift, and you opened it up, and then when you opened it up, you thought, you were very underwhelmed by it, but you tried your hardest not to show that you're ungrateful, but you thought, what is this, man? I don't really want this. That's what I felt when I heard the new. So when I heard that he'd signed a new 2-fight deal, I was quite excited. because I thought it's going to be Charlo and somebody, you know what I mean? Charlo and other, maybe Charlo and Benavides and blah, blah, blah. Lo and behold, Bivol and I mean, come on, bro. Who wants to watch Canelo versus Bivol?
Quite a few people, actually. Quite a few people like that Bivol fight. I saw people online.
Who? I haven't met one person that's excited about that fight. Unless it's, what is it, Dan Raphael, Steve Kim, Doug
Get
Fisher.
Harvey in here. Get Harvey and a couple others in here. They were saying that they preferred the Bivol fight over the Charlo fight. And so's Ash here. He's saying it. He prefers Bivol than Charlo.
Why?
I'll leave that to them to answer, but that's their thoughts on it, man.
And seriously, is there anybody out there that wants to see a third fight with Triple G?
Another one here, Stefan.
Underwhelming, man. That's very underwhelming. Look, there's much. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a step up from Makubu. At least
all these guys are saying Bivol over Charlo. Stefan here, Bivol over Charlo. Javier, Bivol over Charlo. They all prefer Bivol. Is that 175 as well? Remember.
I don't know. Well, you know what? Okay, then maybe you know, everyone's different. Maybe I've got slightly jaundiced opinion of Bivol, but I just see a fight, man, a 12-round snore fest where Canelo gets his hand raised at the end. I'm really underwhelmed by Bivol, man. He's been terrible in his last couple of fights. He brings nothing other than a title. He brings nothing, does he? How are they going to sell that fight? You know what I mean? It's just...
It'll all be down to Canelo.
Would you buy a ticket for that? Seriously, if I gave you a sum of money, I said, yo, hold that. When the Bivol Canelo tickets go on sale, you know what I mean? You can use that to buy a ticket. Would you be excited about that? I certainly wouldn't.
Listen, I'm more intrigued by that. I'll take that fight. I'm more intrigued by that fight than the Triple G one. I'm totally with you on that. I don't want to see that. I'm not interested in that. I don't see what
Triple G do. The guy's wasting time. Years old. He's not fought for about 15 years. You know what I mean? Like, come on now. Who wants to watch that? I mean, listen, I will end up, you know, in a way I'm sounding slightly hypocritical because I will watch the fights, but that's because I love boxing. I will watch most fights on TV. But if that was pay-per-view, I tell you now, I would not be paying for that.
What, the Bivol or the Canelo? The Bivol or Triple G, sorry?
Both. I'd probably more likely watch the Bivol one because at least Bivol's currently active, he's younger, and there is the challenge that Canelo's moving up in weight yet again. But it's a very underwhelming fight. I would have far more likely seen Charlo or Benavides, you know what I mean? I just think that... And the thing is, Charlo's a very winnable fight for Canelo. Very winnable. But it's just a much better fight. Appeals to a much wider sphere of people. Got to be. You know what I mean? And financially, I don't think that does better than... Surely that doesn't do better than a Charlo fight, does it? Charlo would bring way more fans in pay-per-view than Bivol would. Who does Bivol got watching it, apart from Shane? Who likes watching Bivol?
What about this comment here from Stefan? Charlo looked poor against Montiel, though, as well.
He didn't look great, but you have to remember that Charlo, I've given him a bit of stick, and I think that the stick is justified because he's not been as professional as he could be. But let's face it, man, he probably wasn't motivated in fighting Montiel. You know what I mean? That's the excuse I'm going to give for him. A fight against Canelo would be a massively motivational factor for it. And let's face it, even below par, undermotivated, he still beat Montiel quite comfortably. You know what I mean? So it's a much better fight. Come on, man. I can't believe that people are saying that they'd rather watch Bivol than against Charlo.
I think I've seen most people say that, you know. Like, I'll give you this one. I think commercially, yeah, it doesn't compare to what a Charlo fight would do, especially in America with Bivol, because he's just like you said, he's hiding in plain sight. But I guess in terms of the actual fight, Canelo is moving up in weight. Charlo would have to move up to fight Canelo, but Canelo's moving up here to fight Bivol at his natural weight, who is an undefeated champion. It's not a bad fight, really, is it?
I'm kind of thinking like it is, to be honest. Seriously, I've got no excitement. When I saw that, I was so underwhelmed. I'm like I said, it was a bit like opening a Christmas present, and then once you tear the wrapping off it, you think, what? This? You know what I mean? But then like, you try not to show, if the person's there anyway, try not to show that you're ungrateful. But so you're grateful for the fact that he's fighting again, but the opponent surely could have done better than that. And I've just given you two opponents off the top. Andrade's another one. I'd much rather see Canelo in with either Charlo, Benavides, or Andrade than Bivol and bloody Triple G. Come on, man.
I'm with you on the Triple G one.
Eubank Jr. wants to fight Triple G because that will be like, you know, his entry into that kind of top tier level, trying to get a title. So the Eubank Triple G fight makes a lot of sense. And I actually think that Triple G, based on what I've seen of Eubank last week, probably win. But we've seen two fights already. We don't, and that was about, like I said, that was age. It seems like a decade ago, that fight. Why do we want to see that again? We know what's going to happen. No way Triple G is going to win, is it?
No.
No way is he beating Canelo. No way. You know what I mean? If he couldn't knock out Canelo like 10 years ago, why is he going to do that now? And Canelo's improved since then. And it's fair to say that Triple G's regressed quite considerably as well after a couple of his recent performances, even though they've won. It's an absolute rubbish fight, man. Seriously. Who's going to be excited about that?
What, the Bivol fight? Or the Triple G one? Triple G one.
The Triple G especially. I mean, the Bivol one, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. But if you're going to say to me that if I had one over the other, then I'd definitely have Canelo versus Bivol. But then even that is only because he's moving up in weight, not because of the guy he's fighting.
What about this comment?
At the moment, it's like watching paint dry. The last time that guy looked good was when he fought Joe Smith Jr. about 10 years ago. His recent fights have been awful to watch. We know this, man. We see he was in Britain about a year or two ago fighting Craig Richards. He struggled in that fight. So much so that Craig Richards and his team were putting up their hand at the end of the night saying that they thought they won. I didn't think he won, but he did box well. But even so, and he took that fight at short notice as well. Craig Richards did, if you remember.
Yeah.
Underwhelming, man. Like I said, that was a little step up from Makubu. I think after that stinker that Makubu gave the other day, even Canelo knew that he couldn't pull that one off.
So you're happy with
Makubu? That would have been on the kind of Avni Yildirim level, and he got slaughtered for that.
Here's a question here. Who would you rather win if they did fight, Bivol or Canelo? That's what Ash is saying.
Canelo all day long. I don't hate Canelo as a boxer. In fact, I like watching him. But I want to see the guy tested. I want to see the guy in exciting fights against exciting opponents. Bivol, it's a jab fest, isn't it? He's not going to do anything. He's not even probably going to try and win. He's probably going to be happy for the payday.
Yeah. Javier Hirosco said here, is it Canelo's fault that there's no opponent? This is wrong. There is opponents. There are opponents, Javier.
That is not true. There are opponents. He's just not fighting them. I just named you three off the bat. Charlo, Benavides, Andrade. Give me any one of those in any order you like. All three of those are much better, more exciting fights than Dimitri Bivol and especially Triple G. That one stinks the joint out, man. Seriously.
Big up my bro Harvey in the chat here. He was one of the people that said that he would prefer Canelo to fight Bivol than Charlo. You know,
well,
again,
I must admit, I'm genuinely surprised at the people who say that. I'm not trying to disrespect them, even though it kind of sounds
all about opinions.
Kind of sounds like I am, but I really can't see what you guys are seeing in a Bivol Canelo fight that makes you want to watch it. What? I mean, okay, you watch Canelo because I guess the thinking is Canelo against anyone is going to be worth watching. But apart from that, come on, man. What's Bivol going to bring? What excitement is he going to bring? What charisma is he going to bring? How's he going to elevate the sport?
So what do you, I mean, look, if we look at the light heavyweight division now, I mean, surely you'd have to say as well that Bivol is number 2. So is it that bad, him going up to fight Bivol, or are you just saying there could be better options for him?
There are better options.
Yeah.
And okay, you could say that Bivol's second, but he's a long way off Beterbiev. Tell you that now. That's why you don't want to fight Beterbiev. Look how long he's been champion and Beterbiev has. He's not even mentioned Beterbiev's name. Don't you think that that is highly suspect? He's not even mentioned Beterbiev's name. He's, like you said, Daryl, he's hiding in plain sight, waiting for the Canelo fight, waiting for a payday. He knows he's going to lose. He'll probably go the distance. He'll probably say, yeah, I thought I did enough to win. Yeah, okay, whatever, man. You're not even going to try and win that fight. I mean, and I'm not rooting for, I don't like Bivol, man. I just think it's not personal that I don't like him. He's not done anything egregious or anything to upset me on a personal level. The way he's conducted his boxing career, man, I'm just not, I've just got no real empathy for the guy. You know what I mean?
Here's a comment from Harvey here. He's put, I definitely prefer the Bivol fight. It's much more competitive, in my opinion. I'd even edge him to beat Canelo if he gets given it on the cards, though. Well, I'm not so sure.
He ain't going to get it on the cards, man. Come on now. You know that, Harvey. Harvey, enough respect, but you know that, bro. You know what I mean? All he's going to do is engage in a jab fest. I'm not even sure if he's going to try and win. At least with Benavidez and Charlo, they look like they've got that youthful exuberance or that energy about them that suggests that they might try and go in there and win. With Bivol, I don't get that energy off him, man. I just get the feeling that the guy's in there for the payday, that he's cashing out. And here's a comment from, I don't take a beating from Canelo. When Canelo drops back down to another weight or whatever, then I can go for another title shot because I'll still be in the good graces of the WBA.
Here's a comment here from Ian. He's put here, does part of me think Canelo just wants to settle the Triple G issue once and for all, being that we said that he lost to him? Maybe that might be a part of it, just to clear the smoke up.
No, but that doesn't hold true. So why didn't he do that with Lara then? Why didn't he do that with Lara? Loads of people thought that he lost to Lara. Just as many people thought that he lost to Lara than Triple G. Probably more so. What do you think, Daryl?
Yeah, I think the first Triple G one, I think everyone thought that he lost that.
Yeah, but a lot of people thought that he lost to Lara as well, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, there were a lot of people out there.
But why didn't he settle that issue? Because they only fought the once. At least with Triple G, they fought twice. Because, listen, I thought that Triple G might have nicked the first one. I gave it to him.
He definitely won the first one.
Yeah, by a round or two. But the second fight, there was no mistake, was there? Come on.
Second fight, more debatable for me. But
there was no debate. There was no debate. Triple G won that fight. He even had Triple G backing up in that fight. That was the difference between the two fights. In the first fight, he respected Triple G's power. So he boxed a lot on the outside. And we all know that Canelo is a good boxer, but he's not great on the outside. He's better closing down the distance and, you know what I mean, pushing the guy backwards. In the second fight, he was able to do that. Some people might argue that the reason why he did that was because he was consuming vast quantities of the Mexican meat and the tacos. You know what I mean? But hey, listen, he officially got the win. He fought very well in that fight. He had Triple G backing up, which is something that I've rarely seen. You know what I mean? And he got the win.
What about this here? Stefan has said here, Benavidez, Charlo, Andrade, Plant, they should all be calling each other out. You're praising these guys and you're knocking Bivol. What's the difference?
What do you mean? I don't understand that question.
He's saying Benavidez, Charlo, Andrade, and Plant, they should all be calling each other out. So why should these guys be ahead of the queue in front of Bivol? What's the difference?
Because they've done more. I think they're more deserving of the fight.
Okay.
What's Bivol done to deserve a Canelo fight then? Other than the fact that Canelo looks at him as an easy touch in the light heavyweight division. What's he done to deserve it? What, beating Craig Richards and that other guy that he fought recently? Come on, man.
Listen, my opinion on it is I was slightly underwhelmed as well. I wasn't like jumping in the air when I heard this news, especially with the Triple G fight. I'll take the Bivol fight all day long. I'll take that fight. I'm not. I don't want to see that third trilogy. I'm not interested.
No, well, I wouldn't
I
say
think
no.
there are
Clearly, some people.
much better fights out there for Canelo than a third Triple G fight. For me, it just wastes time. We know he's going to win. I don't think anybody out there will pick Triple G to beat Canelo the third time. It's just if he's going to knock him out. And like, look, man, I don't even really care to see that. Do you know what I'm saying? So Triple G's been inactive. He's clearly past his best. Yeah, it might sell the most, it might do the best numbers, but listen, man, I'm not interested in that. I'll be more entertained with anyone else than that. But that's my opinion on it. I'll take the Bivol one. I'm not angry at that. But the Triple G one, nah, not for me. I'm not interested in that.
For years, right, people have been asking to see that fight. This is going over divisions. So since he's been at light middleweight, he's been called out by the Charlos, by Andrade. Since he's been at super middleweight, he's been called out by Charlo and by Benavidez and by Andrade. Andrade even turned up at one of his fights to call him out. Right, so those are naturals. Those fights are, and then he's I don't know.
Is it just? I don't know. Is it? Are you? I mean, look, the guy's undefeated. He holds a world title. He has beaten decent competition. I think you're more underwhelmed with just him in general. Like, he doesn't bring much to the table at the moment in terms of being regularly active, putting himself out there. I think it's more that because he's clearly got ability. I mean, you can admit that he's obviously got ability.
Yeah, he's got ability, man. But the other three fights on there are all much more watchable, viewer-friendly, much more easier to promote than Triple G and Bivol. You know what I mean?
Harvey's starting to turn around. He's starting to more kind of see where you're coming from now.
No, I'm glad. Seriously, I'm not trying to insult anyone's intelligence watching this show, man. But as soon as I heard that, Daryl, I was like, what? Oh, you know what I mean? I was so underwhelmed. Like I said, when they said, oh, announcement coming soon, there's me thinking, oh, he's going to fight Charlo. 2-fight deal, maybe Charlo, then Benavidez. That's the first thing I thought. Wow, at last, Canelo is stepping up to the plate and giving us the fights that people want to see. Then, like I said, I open that proverbial present, take the layer off, tear back the wrapping paper, and I'm presented with Bivol and Triple G. I was like, oh, throw the present on the floor. I'm like, what? Idiot.
Listen, I'll say this, yeah. If Canelo does go ahead with this and he does fight Bivol and Triple G, then the other guys, Andrade, Plant, Benavidez, Charlo, we do need to see them fight each other in the meantime.
Yeah, you see, this is what Canelo wants. He wants the guys to bash up each other and then, let them fight one another. Yeah, somebody tell me why he wants to fight Triple G again. Forget about Bivol for a moment.
Well, the most money. This is going to make the most money for him.
No, but he'd make more money with the other guys.
No, I don't think it would sell. I don't think it will sell more than a Triple G fight.
Really? Who's calling for that fight?
I'm not calling for it. I don't want to see it. But I'm just thinking maybe Triple G he's done more numbers than the likes of Andrade.
Yeah, but that was when he was active, Daryl. You know what I mean? That was when he was exciting, when everybody was presenting him as this killer, this beast. You know what I mean? The boogeyman and all that. He's definitely not that anymore.
No,
you know what I mean?
Look, in the meantime, though, what are you going to say that because he can't fight them all at once? So what are these guys going to do? Just sit around and wait?
Well, I mean, this is what Canelo does, though. He's very cute because by announcing a 2-fight deal, he's basically saying to Benavidez and Charlo and him, man, listen, man, you're not on my radar. You better go and do something else. So in some ways, it's quite strategic. It's quite clever. And it goes back to what I was saying with Canelo before, is that his career has been extremely strategically managed to try and avoid the better opponents. He's obviously seen Bivol in his last couple of fights and said, yeah, man, the man's ready for the taking. Yeah, I mean, you know that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, another one here, Bivol superior to Charlo.
Why? These people who keep saying, what? Because he's a light heavyweight. He's not, bro. He's not.
Why? I mean, Charlo, listen, Charlo he's not been pulling up trees either, though.
No, he hasn't. No, but why is Bivol far superior to Charlo? Somebody make that make sense, because I just do not see that at all. But the same Bivol that struggled with Craig Richards is far superior to Charlo. Stop it.
Carlos, like Stefan said, he struggled against Montiel, didn't look good in that fight. You know, we can't make excuses for them either, man.
Stop playing, bro. Like, you know what I mean? No, but even if you say they were both equally unimpressive, how is that far superior to Charlo?
Remember as well, Charlo's got to move up.
No, hold on. Answer that question.
What's that?
You just said that, yes, Bivol was not that impressive against Craig Richards and the other guy fought in his last fight. And we agree on that. And we also agree that Charlo looked disinterested at times and wasn't very impressive against Montiel, got hit far too much. But let's face it, him and Bivol both won their fights respectively quite comfortably. Although maybe Charlo won his fight against Montiel more impressively than Bivol did against Craig Richards. Because like I said, when the fight was done, Craig Richards and his camp thought that they'd won.
Yeah, but no one really thought he won. I mean, look, you said it earlier. No one really thought he won.
I didn't think he won. No, but what I'm saying is, like, Craig Richards had taken that fight at about 2 weeks' notice, right? And he was considered as just easy work, wasn't he? To promote.
Remember, Bivol had been out the ring for quite a long time before that fight.
Whose fault's that? You know what I mean? I'm not going to have that as an excuse, because that was his fault why he's been out the ring for so long. Because the guy don't fight no one. Like I said, he's been hiding in plain sight. So he's had 2 back-to-back unimpressive wins. And you're going to say, not you, but some people out there are going to say to me, he's a far superior fight than Charlo. Why? What, just because he's a light heavyweight? No, I'm not buying that, man. I'm not buying that. I think the Charlo fight is a much better fight. The Benavidez fight, to me, is probably the best of the 3. Benavidez wants it with him. It's a natural fight. They're both Mexican heritage and all that. Both super middleweights. You know what I mean?
I think you're thinking of just the context of it being a bigger fight in terms of it's a more attractive fight.
It's better, it's more saleable, it's more marketable, it's more interesting.
I think that's where you're coming from more.
No, I think Benavidez is a better fighter than Bivol at this stage in their careers. I honestly do.
Okay. Punch Smollett said here, Bivol's never been touched up like Montiel did Charlo. Stefan has said here, Bivol wasn't unimpressive the last fight. It was really good. To be fair, Stefan, I turned that over after round 10 because I was just so underwhelmed that he couldn't get him out of there. It was literally like watching every single round on repeat. I wasn't impressed in that fight, man. I thought he should have put his foot on the gas and take him out. I think a lot of people were. I mean, he did everything right, did everything well. He got a shot out, but I wasn't impressed.
He can't put his foot on the gas. That's why.
Nathan was impressed as well. So maybe it's just me and you, Laurie. I don't know.
Okay, well, we'll have to agree to disagree, man, and just move on. But I don't. Seriously, I do not think that is an attractive fight. I mean, like I said, I'll watch it because, like I said, I'm a boxing fan. But come on, bro. You know what I mean? They could have done way better than that. You know what I mean? Way better than that. You know what I mean? That's like saying Man City versus...
It's not official yet, by the way. It's not official.
Well, I hope it's not official, bro. That's like telling me you want to watch Man City versus Burnley rather than Man City.
Come on, man. Bivol's better than that, man. Come on. I mean, come on, Burnley.
Well,
better than that.
Okay, the use of the word Burnley in this analogy was probably a clumsy one, but I think you get what I'm talking about. There's more marquee opponents, better fights, more attractive fights, more saleable, more marketable, more interesting. You know what I mean? That would have got genuine boxing fans excited. No one's excited apart from maybe Harvey and Shane. Harvey and Shane, fair enough.
Listen, the Bivol fight, I'll take that. It's the Triple G one that bothers me. I'll take the Bivol one. It's a Triple G one that if he was to fight Bivol and then Charlo, I don't think you'd be that upset with this. We'll see. Nothing's been confirmed yet. You know, we can agree to disagree. Nothing's been confirmed yet. But there was another fight that was announced over this week, and that was Errol Spence against Jacobs-Ryder. Sorry. 3 of the 4 welterweight belts will be on the line. It's not I'll give you a comment. Someone told me, they said to me, if it's not Spence and Crawford, I'm not interested. Now, uh, what's your thoughts on that? Because listen, this is it makes sense. I think this
Yeah,
fight does for
yeah.
Spence, considering it's another belt. It gives him more leverage in negotiations against Crawford. In the meantime, Crawford's what's he gonna do? Do you know what I mean? Your thoughts on this matchup? Errol Spence has been out the ring for a while, had a serious eye injury on top of the horrific accident that he had. So I'm not mad at this fight.
I'm not mad either. I mean, outside of the obvious main attraction, which is Spence versus Crawford, this one's got to be up there, innit? And not only that, they're unifying the belts. So, you know, we always tout unification on this show. So if it's going to mean that, then fair enough. And it's a genuine unification fight. Yeah, not like some of Canelo's where he's just kind of targeted the worst people in the division and said, yeah, I'll fight you in an effort to unify. When other people had the belt, he wasn't so keen on unifying. Now, you know what I mean? When the soft touch gets, when the perceived soft touch gets a belt, oh, let's unify. But when Benavidez was there, hungry as a dog, calling you out, you didn't want no smoke. But anyway, this is not that. This is a good fight. I mean, Ugas, don't sleep on Ugas, man. He absolutely handled Manny Pacquiao, a fight that pretty much everyone, myself included actually, said he was going to lose. And he beat him, let's face it, man, he beat Pacquiao fairly comfortably. I know Pacquiao made a word of excuses, but that's what Manny Pacquiao does. In Manny Pacquiao's mind, he's never been beaten by anybody. But yeah, Ugas beat him, well beat him, and now he's landed another big fight. So I'm pleased for Ugas. I mean, let's be honest as well, man. Ugas, I don't know if any of you watched the Sean Porter fight. He clearly won that as well. He was stiffed in that fight. So he deserves these type of fights, man. And I think he will test Errol Spence all the way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wouldn't even surprise me, man, if it's another controversial decision, one of them ones.
Well, you know what, Errol Spence, he I wouldn't say surprised me, but I was pretty impressed with how he performed against Danny Garcia after that car crash. You know what I mean? We had no idea how he was going to be in that ring. And you know, he pitched almost a shutout against Danny Garcia. Do you know what I mean? And you know, not many people could say they've done that. The defeats that Danny Garcia had were all pretty close to Furman and Porter. So listen, man, that was very impressive for me. Here's a good question here from Michael Maxwell. He said, who should Crawford fight while he waits for the winner? Keith Furman got a win over Mario Barrios last week. Looked pretty good doing it. Not everybody was impressed, but I was. I thought that he did well because he had a long layoff. And, you know, he pitched almost a shutout in that fight. So, you know, I don't think that will happen. But there is somebody like a Keith Furman out there for Bud. It would make sense. It would be a good fight as well. Be entertaining. I'll definitely pick Bud in that one. But, you know, who else is there in the welterweight division?
Yeah, I mean, that's an excellent fight. Because let's face it, I don't think you're going to see Crawford versus Boots, although Boots has been calling out Jerome Ennis, that is, a.k.a. Boots. I don't think that he's going to want to take on Boots because it's risk versus reward, isn't it? You know what I mean? Boots is a young, up-and-coming guy. He's not, you know, at that level yet in terms of previous opponents he's had. So he's probably not going to be as marketable. Yeah, man. I mean, that Thurman fight, I agree with you. I can understand when people are overly criticizing Thurman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought
Furman did pretty well. But he was, like I said, in that fight, he was hurt to the body again in the 8th round, man. And listen, this is a clear weakness of Keith Furman. If you and
Crawford, we keep saying that, but no one's beating him, are they? Well, Pacquiao beat him, but
listen, if Crawford, I think he would eat Furman alive with them body shots, man. I think he would. But Furman is he's a threat. He's still a threat as well. Yeah. And he's good for the division.
At 147, no doubt about it, because he punches hard enough. He's not getting the stoppages since he stepped up in class, but he does have the boxing skills. I think the problem with Furman over the past couple of years is he's not been able to motivate himself to get back in the ring regularly enough, and I think that's affected his performances.
Yeah,
because I don't care how good you are, man. When you're fighting at the top level, if you're not active, then it does show. And that's one of the things that I do give Canelo credit for. Okay, he's active, not always against the best opposition, but at least he's putting himself out there. And by putting himself out there, he's able to showcase his skills and to keep the engine running and to keep things smooth, you know? And that's very important in any sport. You got to be participating in it, not just sitting on the sidelines.
Yeah.
And I think that's been Thurman's problem, man. I know he's had injuries, but it would appear that some of the layoffs have been self-inflicted. He's said himself that he's struggled for motivation. You know what I mean? So, you know, it is what it is. But him versus Crawford, I would definitely watch. Listen, I'd far rather watch that, Thurman versus Crawford, than I would Bivol versus Canelo.
All right, who's got more of a chance of winning then? Thurman against Crawford or Bivol against Canelo?
None of them have any chance of beating the house fighter. So I don't think Thurman's going to beat. That's not to say it won't be a good fight, though. And I would, like I said, as a spectacle, I'd much rather watch Thurman versus Crawford than I would Bivol versus Canelo. At least you know that with Thurman, he's going to bring it, innit? Thurman will bring it, man. That's how he fights. You know what I mean? I'm not confident in saying that Bivol's going to bring it. He's not going to bring nothing apart from the title. And he's going to present it to Canelo and say, look, you'll get paid there. He hands over the belt. You know what I mean? It's an unwritten contract.
Good comment here from
I get the payday. You take my title. I'll go away for a few months and come back and try and win it off somebody else.
Comment here from Stefan. He's put here, as an Errol Spence guy, I'm worried for him in this fight. After the car crash, the eye injury, and the inactivity, we don't know what Spence has had left. And I'll add another thing to that as well, DS. His age. He's only getting older. Do you know what I mean? The recovery stages are longer when you get older. He's in his 30s, Errol Spence now. You know, Ugas is 35, 36, but he's a lot more fresher in terms of, you know, being more active and not having to suffer what Errol Spence has suffered over the last few years.
You say he's fresher, is he? He's had quite a few hard fights recently.
Well, he's not had the serious injury or anything like what Errol Spence has had.
Yeah, I mean, listen, only time will tell. Like you, I was impressed with Errol Spence in the comeback. I mean, to go through that type of injury or injuries and to fight someone like Danny Garcia in your first fight back and win as well as he did, I thought that was very impressive. Again, some people, you know what I mean, were criticizing all the rest of it. You see, what it is nowadays, we live in a world whereby if you don't knock your opponent out, people seem to think that that is a diss. That it's not, you know what I mean? It depends on who you're fighting. As I've said on the show many times.
What about Bivol then?
The more you move up,
what about Bivol?
What you're going to get?
What about Bivol? He don't knock everyone out, but, you know, you kind of criticize him.
He don't knock anyone out. He doesn't try to knock him out. You just said that yourself when you watched him, when he fought Salamov in his last fight.
Very unimpressive. I wasn't.
I mean, what did he do? He just stayed behind the jab and just powered up the points. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like I said, when was the last time Dimitri Bivol looked impressive? Somebody put it in the comments. I want to see it.
Michael Maxwell said here, does Ennis deserve a shot at Crawford and the winner fights Errol Spence and Spence-Ugas?
I'd love to see Ennis fight for a title, but I don't think people are queuing up to fight him for the reasons I said earlier, man. You know what I mean? It's more risk than there is reward.
To be a good fight here, Crawford against Avanesian. That's
yeah,
another
that would be a good fight. Yeah.
Francisco said here, I was really skeptical about Thurman, but he looked pretty sharp after so much time off. He's definitely ready for Clarissa Shields. Yeah, remember she said that she wanted to fight Thurman.
I think we saw last week why that statement was absolutely not just ridiculous, insulting towards Keith Thurman. And she needs to stop that. She really does. I mean, if you can't get rid of Emma Kozin over 10 rounds, how the fuck are you going to fight Keith Thurman? You know what I mean?
She's got her hands full with Savannah Marshall, man.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? So that type of statement there, when Clarissa says stuff like that, that's why she has a few naysayers when you're chatting stuff like that. Because if you can't even get rid of Emma Kozin, how long do you think Emma Kozin would last with Keith Thurman? You know what I mean? I'll leave that there. You know what I mean? So she needs to stop that.
Wizard Sleeve, big up Wizard Sleeve here in the chat. He's put here, if anybody can beat Bud, it will be Josh Taylor.
I don't know about that, man. What about Jerome Ennis? What about
Errol, depending how he looks
yeah,
against
Errol
Ugas.
Spence? What about Virgil Ortiz? You know what I mean? There's quite a few guys. Stanley Onis is in there. There's a few good guys, man.
Yeah. Londoner in the sticks has put here, if Ugas Spence ends as a draw, it wouldn't surprise me at all. An accidental on purpose rematch between them could generate the PBC some much needed coins and freeze out Crawford even longer. It's difficult for Crawford, man, because he's really kind of backed in the corner here. Like, what does he do? Eddie Hearn came out this week and said that he was having talks with Crawford, but he openly admitted that, he can't do much for him. So really, Crawford is going to have to try and do some sort of deal or something with the PBC. They've really kind of got him where they want him in terms of his legacy. I mean, he won't say that, but, all the fights are on that side of the street. Do you know what I mean? Maybe he's going to have to find a way to go over there.
No, I agree. Listen, I think that it's obvious to me as well. Errol Spence are going down that Canelo route, innit, where they're trying to age people out. Errol Spence doesn't want to fight Crawford, man. It's obvious, you know what I mean? And I've been critical of him about that in the past, and I continue to be critical about it. Don't get me wrong, the Ugas fight does make sense, but come on now. Everybody knows that the real fight of that division is between these two, a fight that should have taken place a few years ago already. And it just seems to me that they know that Crawford is what is Crawford now? Getting on for 34-5? They're trying to age him out, man. It's obvious, isn't it? They're trying to age him out.
Well, listen, I just want to see the best fight the best at the end of the day, man. I'm not mad at this fight with Spence and Ugas. I'll do. It does make sense considering Ugas does have a belt, but like I said at the beginning of the year, if we don't get Errol Spence and Terence Crawford this year, I'll give up. I just give up, man. If there's
Good luck with that one.
If there's if there's no indication that they're going to fight early next year, let's say
you're right,
or something, then I'm just like, I'm done with it. I'm done with it.
Let me just give you a little comparison here. So we've been waiting to see Spence and Crawford now for how many years? 3-4 years, maybe?
Yeah, around that.
And similarly with Canelo and Charlo, Canelo and Andrade, Canelo and Benavidez, at least 2 years we've been waiting to see that. You know, I mean, you go to the UFC and you've got Colby Covington and Masvidal who have got beef. They don't like each other. And for about a year now, maybe even less than that, you've had Colby Covington being public about wanting to fight Masvidal. Dana White has made that fight happen. It's happening in March. You see the difference? Because Dana White knows that is a fight that the public, the UFC and MMA, they want to see that fight. And he has got that fight made. It's signed. It's going ahead in March of this year. You know what I mean? This is what
it's not. I mean, the organization and the whole structure and format is different, though, isn't it? Dana White.
I know that. But what I'm saying is, nevertheless, it's what makes UFC such an attractive proposition. Because if you follow that sport, you get the fights that you want to see. Whereas in boxing, man, it always seems to be a reason not for the fights to happen.
Yeah.
No one wants, well, I say no one, but there are a few people. But if you had a choice between Bivol and Canelo and Charlo and Canelo, or Benavidez and Canelo, I'm pretty sure the majority would be choosing the latter. They would not be choosing Bivol. And I respect Harvey and Shane and them guys. They've got their opinion. But I think it's fair to say that most people were underwhelmed when they heard about that fight, that 2-fight deal. I know I was. Anyway, let's move on to something.
Yeah, we'll get onto the fight this weekend. I just want to get through these two comments. Asher said here, PBC need to leave the sport. They block all of these fights that we talk about. Punch Smollett has said here, and this is a UFC type thing, but he's put here, Masvidal is ducking Edwards. I wouldn't know. But yeah, if you're saying it, Punch, I'll agree with you. I'm not sure. But listen, yeah. This weekend, man, we do have Danny Jacobs coming over to the UK, having his first professional bout over here. A random one, really, man, against John Ryder. Hard for me to gauge this one because it's really just a random fight. Let me just answer this question from Ash. This fight is not official yet, is it? Buatsi and Craig Richards. It's not official yet, is it? If it is, I'll definitely go to it if it is official. I definitely
that's a very attractive proposition.
Yeah. But anyway, let me go back to this Jacobs and Ryder fight here. Yeah, hard for me to gauge this one. Danny Jacobs and John Ryder feels like a crossroads fight. Danny Jacobs, is he really motivated anymore? Didn't look good last time out, has been inactive. John Ryder, since he was robbed against Callum Smith, he's fought two guys that are not really on his level. So how much progression has he made since then? I don't know what to think of this fight, man. Like, how do you see this? It could be an entertaining one, but what do you think, Laurie? I mean, we'll be in an alley pally. We'll be buzzing in there. But your thoughts on it?
My thoughts are that at this stage of their respective careers, the fact that the fight's in the UK, I'm leaning towards Ryder.
Yeah.
I think he'll be too busy for Jacobs. I think he'll outwork him, he'll out-hustle him, and I think he'll get a fairly wide points decision. I think the only way Jacobs is going to win this fight is if he knocks Ryder out. And I think Ryder, the one thing you can say about Ryder over the years, other than that he is a good boxer, he's also got a very good chin. I've never even seen him being hurt. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, I just think that in their respective points of their careers, Danny Jacobs has done everything in this sport that he's going to do. I actually thought he beat Triple G. I didn't get the decision. It was a close fight, but I thought he did enough to get that. But it was one of them where politically he was never going to get it. So I felt sorry for him in that. But he scaled the mountain and he's clearly on the slide. In his last fight, he looked very unimpressive against Gabe Rosado. A lot of people thought he lost that fight.
Yeah.
And I can see why as well, to be honest. I can't remember how I scored it. I think it was very close, could have gone either way. Maybe a draw was the best result, but he come out of there with a win that a lot of people were saying that they thought he lost.
Yeah.
And he was expected to stop Rosado, wasn't he? Remember, he was talking before the fight. It was being billed as a bit of a grudge match because of things that had been said between the two fighters. And if you remember, before that fight, Danny Jacobs was saying how he's more motivated in this fight than he had been in years, and you're going to see Danny Jacobs 2.0, and he's going to do this and that. Well, in the ring, he was anything but.
Very disappointing.
Yeah, very flat.
Yeah.
And Danny Jacobs is another one. I'm kind of struggling to remember the last time he looked good. I mean, okay, the Chavez win was decent when he made Chavez quit because he'd actually gone up in weight for that fight. But kind of struggling, man. I just think he's at that point in his career now where a young, hungry, well, John Ryder's not that young, but he's hungry though, isn't he? He should have got the win against
Callum Smith. Definitely.
Callum Smith. That was one of the worst robberies in this country for a while, that fight there. He clearly won that fight. It's a terrible decision. And I think you can feed off that energy. And he's a very underrated boxer, John Ryder, actually.
Yeah, I think so.
Very underrated. He doesn't have the special effects that some fighters have. And he's not quite as good as a Billy Joe Saunders and people like that who he's fought in the past, although he did give Billy Joe Saunders a very close fight. But he's one of those guys, he kind of goes under the radar. A lot of what he does is very good. You know what I mean? And I think come this weekend, man, I think he will go into this fight treating it like a world title fight. And I happen to think that his efforts will be rewarded.
So you got John Ryder on points, wide points as well, you saying?
Possibly wide, yeah, because like I said, I just think he's going to out-hustle. I mean, it'll be one of those where it'll be competitive early. And if he doesn't get knocked out, I could see him like maybe not having his way, but you know what I'm saying, being quite comfortable in there down the stretch en route to a wide point. I don't see him getting Danny Jacobs out of there, but I just think he'll have too much energy and too much, you know what I mean, too much juice for him at this stage that's the word I'm looking for. I just think Jacobs won't be as motivated as Ryder will. I think Ryder will be treating this as his world title opportunity, and I think he will. I think he'll win.
Michael Maxwell said here, Jacobs is treading water in his career, and he's hoping for a final payday. I reckon that Eddie Hearns probably don't know what to do with Jacobs right now. Like, I mean, because this fight is random. Like, I just didn't see this one coming at all. I don't know what sort of significance it has, like where it leads the winner. I'm not sure. I don't even think I've seen it. I think this is just literally a prize fight.
And this speaks to what I was saying about ambition and motivation, because if Danny Jacobs wins this fight, right, where does that really put him? Doesn't, you know, when he goes back to America, let's be honest, when he goes back to America and say, yeah, I've just gone overseas and beaten John Ryder, what do you think the Americans are going to say? Yeah, who's
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
They're going to say, who's that? Whereas over here now, John Ryder beating Danny Jacobs, people say, hey, man, you got Danny Jacobs on your resume. Yeah, man, world title shot next, you know, and that will be used for him to get a world title shot. Whereas Danny Jacobs, just the fact that Danny Jacobs is coming to this country for this fight, that's very unusual, isn't it? You see Americans come over here like that. That tells me straight away that he's doing it for the bag. He's doing it for the money. And he realizes that it was a payday that he couldn't turn down because he's not fought for a while. So he probably thought, rah, they're paying me this much money to fight a guy that's not even a puncher. Yeah, I'll take that. But what he probably doesn't realize is that John Ryder is viewing this like it's a world title. So, I expect Ryder to. I'll be surprised if John Ryder doesn't win. I'm trying not to disrespect Danny Jacobs because, you know, I mean, over the years, he's been a very, very good fighter. And a personal favorite of mine back in the day, when you consider what he had to go through with his cancer story and stuff like that, which I'm sure a lot of your viewers will know about. So for him to come back from that and win a world title and defend it a couple of times, fight the likes of Canelo, Triple G in losing performances. The Canelo fight, he didn't really extend himself the way I would have liked him to have done. He didn't seem to put it all out there, but Canelo tends to do that to people, don't they? You know what I mean? He tends to do that to people. Against Triple G, though, I thought he beat Triple G.
I thought he beat Triple G as well.
Yeah, he just didn't get it. I felt very sorry for him that night because it was clear politics.
Yeah.
But hey.
So some different opinions here in the comments. We've got a few people going for Ryder. We've got Diaz, though, that's going for Jacobs on points. We've got Harvey that thinks Jacobs won on points. Shout out to Ash in the chat here. He said he's answered my question. He said that the winner here will be lined up for a title shot at 168 when Canelo vacates, as it's an eliminator. So big up Ash for that. Stefan as well. He's saying that it's a Jacobs close decision fight, a close decision win, and he could fight Andrade if he wins, both with Eddie Hearn and DAZN. That makes sense as well. That does make sense.
Yeah.
Andrade and Jacobs.
Like I said, it depends on how much ambition Jacobs shows, but I just think that at this stage in their respective careers, this fight suits John Ryder down to the T. He's also at home. He's from Islington. The fight's in Wood Green, just down the road, not far from where I live, actually. I was actually thinking of going to the fight, but I'm out that night. I will watch it at some point. But yeah, I just think that all the portents are there for John Ryder to win. I'll be surprised if Ryder don't win. Wow. I think if he don't win, I think you've got to question if he's ever going to aspire to that world title level. Really?
Yeah. This is a big one for him.
It is. And, it's a fight for both.
I think Ali Pally will be rocking. I don't, you know what I mean? What's his name? The heavyweight, Johnny Fisher will be there. I think a lot of his supporters are going to be there. They'll cheer for Ryder, obviously, while they're there. So listen, man, I think it'll be a good atmosphere in there. But yeah, it's I just think that the more quality from what I've seen over the years has come from Jacobs. I just don't know what he's got left. So I'll lean towards him, but I don't know. I actually don't know. I'm just like, it could really go to anyone, this one.
Yeah, I mean,
it's going all the way, though.
Yeah, I think it'll go all the way. Because like I said, Jacobs can punch. He's the heavier puncher of the two. But then having said that, this is at super middleweight. Jacobs is a career middleweight. And I just think that Jacobs is starting to show the signs of a fighter that's reached that top, plateaued out, and is now on the downward curve ever so slightly. So when you think about it, it's a brilliant piece of matchmaking by Eddie Hearn.
Yeah. Smart to have Fisher on the undercard as well, because like Ash is saying here, he's brought 3,000 fans to this fight. That is crazy. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Stefan has said here, I think fighting outside of the US will make Jacobs raise his game. He needs to, as he's looked quite poor at 168. Yeah, I agree with that. Maybe it will, change of scenery might make Jacobs up his levels. His first time fighting in the UK, might want to put on a show for the fans over here. And, we were like real boxing fans know who he is and respect his story and got a lot of love for him for it. So, maybe he might want to put on a show.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. It's just, does he have it left, though? I mean, he might well want to put it on a show, but, can he dig down into that tank? and recover former glories. I think, listen, if this fight had been 3, 4, 5 years ago, I would have had no hesitation in picking Danny Jacobs to win, even if it was in this country. But I think time's moved on. Father Time is undefeated for the most part anyway. And looking at Jacobs' last couple fights and how he's performed compared to John Ryder, who's performed very well, like I said, he should have beaten Callum Smith. God knows what the judges were looking at that night, because he was a clear winner in my view. And I just think 168 suits him. He's fighting in his own backyard. Like I said, Wood Green is just down the road from Islington. It's not even 5 miles apart. So he'll have loads of fans in there. And the neutral, well, I say neutrals, will all be supporting him. And it could make it a long, hard night for Danny Jacobs. He's going to feel like a long way from home come Saturday night. Trust me.
Yeah. Asher said here, it's a higher level version, this fight, of Eubank and Williams. And that just kind of leads me on to my last point of the show for today. We did speak about Eubank and Williams on the fan talk. Shout out to everybody that joined and contributed to that show. If you haven't already seen it, go and check it out. We did a post-fight reaction to Eubank Williams. It was a good show. So we won't touch on that again because we pretty much said everything we needed to say. But, there was a lot of talk this week about Eubank and possibly Conor Benn. Did you take that seriously?
No.
Nor did I.
No, I don't want to see that fight. I mean, even Eubank said, in a few years from now. I don't even know if Eubank will be around in a few years from now for that fight to happen. Yeah, and if he was, would it? I mean, we say that, and then next week we got Khan and Brooks. So maybe I'm being a bit premature in saying that. But no, man, I want to see Eubank now go on and fight for a title. I think he needs to, because his performance last week in spots was impressive, but overall I wasn't that impressed. I was slightly critical of him after the fight. In hindsight, I'm prepared to temper that down a little bit because he well won the fight. I don't know what fight Matthew Macklin was looking at, by the way.
Eubank came for him last week.
Even though he well won it, even though he well won the fight, and even though he scored the 4 knockdowns, there was something still not quite right about his performance. I think that's fair to say. I don't want to be unduly harsh because he well won it. And like I said, whenever you fight a quality opponent like Liam Williams, and you're able to put him on the floor 4 times, I guess that in itself is impressive. So I'm trying not to be too harsh. But in terms of some of the things I saw, or rather didn't see, I would hesitate to make Eubank a favorite against any of those middleweight champions right now, even Murata. Yeah.
Stefan has said here, Brooke Khan preview next week, man. That's just the thought of it's crazy that this fight is finally happened, man. That I'm looking forward to that. And there are people out there, I won't mention any names, but there are people out there that were cussing this when it got announced, and now they're looking forward to it. So listen, man, that's going to be big.
I wasn't one of those, was I? Because I'm
not talking about you. I'm not talking about you. But
I was one of those, right, that I always said that, listen, the fight itself, none of those two are going to go on to fight for world titles. It's extremely unlikely. They're both well past their best, but it doesn't mean to say that it won't be a good fight and it won't be a fight that people will want to watch. And as you can see from the build-up, man, lots of people want to see it.
Some people still think Khan might pull out. Some people still think that's a possibility, man.
Yeah, I saw Dominic Ingram make some comments to that effect this week, saying that Khan will pull out either injury or from COVID. That he started making excuses already. And you know what? I have listened to a few interviews, and even one I heard yesterday where Khan kept referencing the weight. He kept saying, I didn't really want it at 149. But, hey, and I thought to myself, yo, bro, you signed a contract. Nobody don't give a shit about that, bro. You know what I mean? Nobody ain't trying to hear that. So don't even start that shit. He's talking about Kell Brook having the advantage of, you know what I mean, being at 149. You signed the contract. Yeah. So that's it. If Kell knocks you out next week, which is a possibility, or stops you down the stretch, and you start attributing it to the fact that Kell had an advantage in weight, I don't want to hear it. Nobody will want to hear it. You lost. That's it. at the moment, anyway, I won't.
We'll go in on that next week, man. We'll go in on that next week.
Well, I did detect a few little chinks in his armor. He wasn't saying that at the first press conference, was he? You weren't saying that back then. Now you're saying, you're dropping little hints about, I preferred the fight at 147 to 149, but hey, it is what it is. Don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it.
Wizard Sleever said here, what ball is Fury spouting today? I saw him do a video. Online, actually, calling out Dillian White again, saying, why are you not talking? Where are you? I'm starting to think you might be getting a bit rattled, Fury, with that.
Did he use the word dosser?
He absolutely did use the word dosser again.
Oh, yeah, great trash talk, that, isn't it?
But he's saying, look, where are you, Dillian White? But maybe this is a great thing what Dillian White is doing. He's getting into Fury's head. Maybe he knows exactly what he's doing.
Maybe.
By not saying anything. Fury seemed a bit rattled by that today.
I don't know if he seemed rattled. He just likes to have something.
He liked to talk, doesn't he, actually?
Yeah, he just likes to have something to go on about, doesn't he? I thought what was interesting, though, were him saying stuff about Usyk and calling him a coward and sort of indirectly accusing him of being on steroids, which is interesting when you consider that he's actually been caught for steroids, that you're calling out another man. I just wondered, is that a sign of him being rattled by Usyk? Because by all accounts, Usyk's people reached out to him to make the fight and he wasn't interested. So is that something that's got under his skin a little bit? Usyk?
Maybe. Comment here from DS. He said here, and I totally agree with this, because this is my issue with Conor Benn. DS has said here, Conor should be calling out Furman. All this talk of Eubank is nonsense. Ben is not even a big welterweight. And this is the thing here with Conor Benn, like just navigating through certain, why are you even talking about a Eubank when you've got guys in your division that are calling you out and want to fight you? I know it's not serious. I don't think it was that serious of a call out. It's there to make headlines, but you've got guys in your division, bro. Do you know what I mean? We don't want to hear Broner. We don't want to hear Eubank. You've got people in your division, and you should vouch for this because
I know about that. I think the Broner call out makes a lot of sense to me.
Not at all, man.
I'll tell you why.
Down on that. I don't agree with that fight at all. No way.
Yeah, I know you don't, but I'll tell you why the Broner fight does make a lot of sense. Number one, Broner is still active, although he hasn't fought for a while. But we're hearing that he's back in the gym and he wants to fight. In fact, he's been publicly calling out Howard Heyman, saying he wants a fight date. So he's an active fighter. He's got a name. He's way past his best. But if Conor Benn could have someone like that on his resume, particularly if he could do a number on him, because one thing you would say about Adrian Broner, despite him not being at his best, he's been in with guys like Sean Porter, Manny Pacquiao, and one or two other people, and they've not even come close to stopping him. So if Conor Benn could get him in the ring, do a number on him, that would, despite what you say, Daryl, that would be a massive boost for his career. So I can understand the him calling out Adrian Broner. In fact, if I was part of Conor's team, I would be saying, yeah, call him out, because he's an undersized welterweight that's not fought for years, way past his best, doesn't live the life outside the ring, but still has enough ability and has much of a name that Conor Benn can benefit of getting the win off him. Like I said, particularly if he could stop him, which, when you see what Conor Benn's done recently, you wouldn't put it past him. Maybe not knock him out, but force the referee to jump in. So if you could get a win like that on his resume, that would do wonders for his career. But the
wonders for his career commercially, it will do wonders for his career commercially, not in terms of popularity for me, not in terms of enhancing your standing among the welterweight division. It doesn't do anything in terms of enhancing your standing in the welterweight division.
I don't know, man. I think it would. I think if he can go on,
like you said, beating an undersized welterweight in Adrian Broner. That's
but we
mental health issues. That enhances his standing in the welterweight division.
It does, because, like I said, for the people who really know this stuff, we'll look at it sideways. But we all know that's the way boxing works. It's all about timing in someone's career. You look at all of the great fighters; they've all had fights like that, whereby they're meeting a guy that's on the way down that still has a name. You know what I mean? All of them do it. All of them do it. So I wouldn't have a big issue with that because Broner's still active. It's not like he's been a retired
He's
fighter.
not active. When was his last fight?
No, but he's an active fighter insofar as he wants to fight. He's not retired or anything like that, has he? He just can't get work for whatever reason. If he'd been retired, say, not fought for 5 years, and then he's grossly out of shape and just coming back for money, and then, you know what I mean, that would be slightly different. But, you know what I mean, he is still active. He has won his last couple of fights, albeit not very impressively. But if Conor Benn can get him in the ring and beat him impressively, it is going to be a good look for his resume, despite what you say, Darryl, it will.
I don't agree. I have to respectfully disagree. I don't think that does anything for his resume at this stage. It's like Canelo fighting Triple G. He's a name. He's someone that's out not in his prime. He's active.
No, that dynamic
makes money for Canelo. So, you know, what's the difference?
No. That's completely different dynamic. Canelo's already an established fighter. Has already won world titles. Completely different.
Triple G's out of his prime.
Conor Benn is trying to scale that mountain.
Yeah, Canelo's you're not going up the mountain by beating Adrian Broner.
Conor Benn is trying to scale that mountain. Canelo's already on the mountain looking over it. Completely
You're not scaling. Different. You're not going any further up that mountain by beating Adrian Broner. You are commercially. No, I've let you talk. You got to let me. With Broner, he's basically got one foot out the game. He's been arrested multiple times. He's had issues with drinking. He's had issues with eating. He's had issues all over the shop with court, being in debt. And you want to throw him in there with Conor Benn, somebody that's supposed to be an active fighter in the welterweight division.
All right, so who do you want Broner to fight then? Who's he going to fight at this stage?
I don't want to see Broner fight back in the ring against really anyone like that.
No, but he wants to fight. He said he's not retired. He said he wants another world title shot. Who's he going to fight? Broner.
What's the guy's name? What's that guy's name? You know the one, what's his name, man? He fought Danny Garcia. Has the weird hairstyles and all that.
What, the Ukrainian guy?
Yeah, just fight someone like that, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not going
to... that's not going to make him no money, is it? He wants to fight somebody that's marketable.
Yeah, but what can you do? Like, I mean, at this stage,
man,
you
and
that's why on the Triller show.
That's why he's going to end up taking a fight like Conor Benn.
What, you want to see him get pummeled by Conor Benn? Is that going to be good for Broner?
No, but he's going to get paid there. You want paid there?
You got to enjoy the payday, man. You got to be able to enjoy it.
Anyway, the point I'm trying to make, though, is that I know you don't want to see it, but there'll be a lot of people out there that want to see it.
What about this here? Van Heerden is apparently fighting Benn on April 16th. Another poor fight, another non-puncher. Notably, you know, Benn is not really known for going against the punchers in that division.
Yeah, I mean, Van Heerden was a decent name back in the day. I remember Errol Spence beat him, innit? And after that, his career's sort of just been in the wilderness. So, yeah, I'm not excited by that fight at all. I mean, I think we all know what's going to happen if he fights Van Heerden. It's either going to stop him or he's just going to beat him up over 10 rounds.
It's looking like it's true. Harvey's saying it as well. A few people in here saying that's looking like that's a strong possibility.
Yeah. Van Heerden, for those of you who don't know, is South African guy, a bit of a tough guy back in the day. Known for being game and tough, but not much else. And like, you know, he's a long way past his best too. But yeah, though, I mean, I know you don't like that Broner fight, man, but it does make a lot of sense, you know. And I could see it happening. But Conor Benn versus Eubank is a joke thing. I would agree with you on that. Who wants to see that?
Yeah, I'm not. That's just, I think that was more just, you know, our dads had that famous history. Eubank just fought, you know what I mean? It will get a lot of people talking. And I saw a lot of people excited on that. I'm just like, they must be casuals, man, because realistically, that's not happening. There was another possibility, you know, if Brook was to win next weekend, he might go up and fight Eubank.
Yeah, again, I would rather see that.
I'd rather see that, but
I'd rather see that.
Again, I don't think...
Because either Brook or Khan know enough to... Especially Brook, because I think he probably got a better pair of whiskers than Khan has. But both those two, anyway, are still have enough to maybe take Conor Benn into the later rounds and give him a fight. You know what I mean?
I think Eubank would destroy, like Ash is saying here, I think he'd do Brook like he did Liam Williams. at this
Sorry?
stage. I think.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry, I thought you were talking about Conor Benn versus Khan or.
Nah, I mean I mean Brook or Khan. No, sorry, Brook. If he was to win,
Yeah.
can't fight
No,
Eubank.
yeah. I've got no interest in that. No. That would be a joke thing. That
Yeah,
would be worse than the
Ben and
Brown
Broner.
and the Brown Ben versus Brown. Like I said, I know you don't like the look because I know you've got a bit of a empathy for
AB.
AB. You don't want to see him get beat up. Personally, I don't really have much empathy for him, so I don't really care for him that much. I think he's a bit of an idiot, to be honest. But he still has a bit of a name and a reputation and a winning record, insofar as he's won his last couple of fights, albeit not impressively. But if Conor Benn fights a Adrian Broner, especially if he's able to do a number on him, like stop him or beat him up or force the referee to jump in or knock him out, something like that, that will resonate across the waters. It will, no doubt about it.
Ash is saying here, Ben Shalom mentioned Brook and Eubank next. It will happen if Brook wins next week. I don't even know if Brook's going to win next week. I don't know about that fight either, man.
Yeah.
I think Brook needs to worry about winning next week than worrying about Eubank.
And we all know what happened the last time he stepped up to middleweight.
Yeah.
So I don't think he should be. But then you see, Kell Brook, if he does win next week, he's going to want to fight again. He's going to want another high-profile fight. People will be in his head, gassing him up. Yeah, you could beat Eubank. You weren't that impressive. And you know what fighters like Kell Brook are like? Yeah, he's going to think he can do it. Gets in the ring, then he'll get destroyed by Eubank. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't want to see that, man.
I got a good fight. What about Billy Joe Saunders if he doesn't get that title fight? That makes sense. That makes sense.
What, Billy Joe versus Eubank?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that.
I think it makes sense. It's a big fight over here. Obviously they've got history. Saunders is coming off a loss, but he still should have enough in the tank really to make that'd be a good fight with Eubank. I'd like to see that if you don't get the title shot.
Yeah, I'd much rather see that. Much rather see that fight.
Asher said here, please tell me that you've seen the Gloves Are Off trailer. I haven't seen it. No,
I've seen the trailer. Man.
I ain't seen it.
Look good.
Well, what happened in the trailer? I didn't see it. What happened?
Well, what you see, I think Khan was trying to, play that. I'm trying to wind him up, and Kell looked very intense, man. You see, with that fight, right? Deep down, I don't think Amir Khan really hates Kell Brook, but I know that Kell Brook hates Amir Khan. You could see it.
Yeah,
I've never seen him look as intent and he said in that trailer, he goes, "This is personal," and it's not my. A lot of times, fighters will try to play the personal bit down because sometimes with fighters, if they admit that it's personal, then you're kind of admitting that you're allowing your emotions to get the better of you. But Kell Brook has no problem in saying that it's personal. And you can see it on his face.
Really hates Khan, man. He really hates Khan.
I think he wants. I don't think he wants to win. I don't think he'd be satisfied with a points win. I think he'd only be satisfied if he stretched Khan.
Well, God help him if he loses. If he loses to Khan, yeah.
God help it. Either of them. That's what another thing that makes this fight so intriguing, because the bragging rights on this one is so big that I don't know if either of them will ever be able to live it down. I mean, of course they will in time, because time is a healer, but especially if one or the other and gets starched. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
If Kell Brook lays him out, wow, what I mean?
Will they shake hands at the end? Will they shake hands at the end of the fight? Whoever wins.
I'd like to think so, because one thing about fighting people and going head to head with people is that once you've actually been in the ring, and I can speak from personal experience, you may not like somebody, right? And this is even with sparring. I've actually sparred guys in the gym that I didn't really like. And then after you've done a few rounds with them and you beat each other up a little bit, you kind of have that. You may not still like them, but you kind of have that respect for them because you've actually been in there and been up close and personal and swap blows. And there's nothing like that for making you want to, or not want to, but having that kind of respect for someone, saying, well, look, at least we slugged it out. We settled our differences. You know what I mean? So that's one thing about fighting that I would say. That is why if you look at the traveler community, for example, they have that in their culture. Whereas if two people have a personal beef, they will settle it. You know what I mean? They will settle it by fighting. And then they say, right, once we've got that out of our system, then that's it. And there is something to be said for that. It's better than stabbing and shooting one another. You know what I mean? You go there, it's just mano versus mano.
I've got no issue with it.
You do your thing. May the best man win. You shake hands. You don't have to like each other, you know, but you've settled your difference. That's it. So, you know.
It's old school, man. I got no issues with that way at all. Do you know what I mean?
Because even with Fraser and Ali, even to his dying day, Fraser said that I never really liked Ali, but I respected it. See, that's what happens. So hopefully after their fight is done next week, that kind of animosity will go. You know what I mean?
Unless let's do a full preview on that next week, man. I'm conscious of the time. Do I have to go?
Yeah, I've got to go. There's a game today, actually, Arsenal game, which I'm doing part of the watch along, as you can see from my AFTV.
Yeah, massive game tonight, man. Massive game. Have to win that.
Big
have
game.
to win that.
Big game.
Yeah, so we'll lock it off here. You know, another very good show. Shout out to everybody, man. You know, great preview coming up next week, but there is boxing to look for this weekend as well. Don't forget, guys, if you haven't already, hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're getting very close to that 1K mark. I think you know, is that watch along official next week? Can we announce that now?
Yeah. That will happen, man. That will happen.
Yeah. So the Brook Khan,
you'll be able to provide the details next week.
Yeah, look forward to that.
We're in the middle of finalizing everything for that. There's going to be a few guests, so yeah. So hopefully we'll have something for you to announce on your channel in the next couple of days. But just thinking out loud while we're still here, I've just thought of one opponent for Conor Benn, and he's fast becoming the boogeyman of the welterweight division, and that's David Avanesian. Apparently, Avanesian was turned down by Virgil Ortiz as well.
Yeah, you've said that already. You've said that before, that one.
Yeah, so Conor Benn versus Avanesian would be a great fight, but I don't think he'll take that because it represents too much danger.
I don't think so. But listen, man, we'll get
Virgil Ortiz didn't take it. Makes you wonder as well, doesn't it?
I'm not gonna. We'll get onto that another show, man. But listen, we'll lock it off here. Shout out to everybody. And don't forget always to hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And listen, guys, we'll be back next week.
Yep. As usual, just want to close by saying thanks, Daryl, for the opportunity to come on here and indulge my passion the way I do, which is great. Thanks also to everybody watching. Like, share, subscribe, share the video, man. Let's get these numbers up. Let's get these subscriptions. I want to get past that 1K landmark, hopefully before next week.
I think next week will be got a good chance of getting there after next week, I reckon.
Yeah, I believe so.
We'll look it off here, guys, man. We'll shout out to you all and we'll catch you all next week, man. Big up.